Welcome to the July 8th, 2025 Millbrae City Council meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. Acting City Clerk Michelle Lee, thank you for joining us this evening again. Would you please do a roll call?
Councilmember Nguyen.
Here.
Councilmember Riley.
Here.
Councilmember Rinaldi.
Present.
Vice Mayor Holliver.
Present.
Mayor Fung.
Here.
All council members are present.
Thank you very much. And please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance if you can, please. Thank you. Please be seated. And we begin tonight's meeting with the ceremonial presentation. We don't have any tonight, and go into agenda overview and staff briefing. City Manager?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening to you, members of the City Council. Tom Williams, City Manager. As we get started this evening, I'd like to make an announcement and let the public know that due to technical difficulties with part of our MCTV infrastructure, it's preventing us from delivering tonight's Millbrae City Council meeting on Comcast Channel 27 and AT&T Channel 99. So there is a QR code that MCTV is putting on the TV screen on those two channels because the live YouTube meeting the meeting can still be accessed via YouTube Live this evening. So we appreciate everyone's understanding of that, but please log into YouTube for the live council meeting this evening. And Mayor, as you mentioned, I would like to just, before we get started here, briefly introduce Michelle Lee from Community Development Department. Most of you know her. Michelle is stepping in for as acting city clerk while our city clerk is on a vacation, much needed vacation for City Clerk Elaine Tran. So we welcome Michelle. She's doing a great job for us. Then Mayor, a few things, updates. This past Friday, the city hosted its annual 4th of July in the park. It was a great success, a lot of great feedback. Thank you to yourself and council members for being there. But I'd like to thank our city staff. Under Hannah Moran, our recreation director, and her staff at the recreation department, they just did a tremendous job. The logistics and the all the games for the kids and did a wonderful job. Also, of course, Public Works under the leadership of Craig Sintis with John Gianoli, Joe Mendoza, Chris Falzone, all the Public Works staff. I'd like to thank them for a job well done. Also, Chief Allen and the sheriff's deputies that were out and about, and also Chief Pucci and the CCFD crew. So just a really nice job and team effort by everyone. And then also, as I mentioned, I'd like to thank you, Mayor, City Council members for being there, and also Councilmember Sissy Riley for the wonderful rendition of our Star Spangled Banner. So she did a terrific job. We just have received tremendous successful feedback from the community. So this is our second annual, and we'll continue with the tradition. All right, next, pickleball. As you all know, pickleball is one of the most popular sports around. To accommodate the demand, we've worked with Millbrae Education School District, or Elementary School District, to open the Shea Center, which is located at Taylor Middle School, for indoor pickleball on Monday evenings and Friday evenings from 5:30 to 8:30. So Monday night, 5:30 to 8:30, Friday night, 5:30 to 8:30. Each session is $3.95 to pay for janitor cost recovery. So indoor pickleball, Monday nights, Friday nights at the Shea Center starting at 5:30. Also, Mills Estates Park planning is underway. There are two key dates for the community and the public. Saturday, August 9th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. we will have our first community meeting. This will be on site at Mills Estates Park. We'll have an opportunity to hear the needs of the neighborhood, needs of the community, visioning, park design concepts. So a very important meeting to hear from the community in terms of what they would like to see in the new Mills Estates Park. So that's August 9th, Saturday, August 9th, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. out at Mills Estates Park. A second meeting will be conducted on, let's see, when is September 4th at 6 p.m. That's a Thursday evening, and that will be held at the Rec Center. So September 4th, 6 p.m., which is a Thursday at the Recreation Center, to again continue the visioning and the needs analysis and hear input from the public. Next, I'd like to, maybe you saw an article yesterday. The county assessor, Mr. Mark Church, released information about assessed valuations throughout the county. And the city of Millbrae was reported to have the highest percentage growth in assessed valuation. As a matter of fact, according to the press release, the top 5 cities by percentage growth in assessed value were Millbrae at 7.19%, Burlingame at 6.9%, Brisbane at 6.82%, Atherton at 6.49%, and Woodside at 6.40%. So what this means is as our assessed valuation increases, property tax revenue increases to the city, and we're able to provide more services and street improvements and things that impact our general fund out in the community. I'd also like to mention, if you did read the article, just for public information, it was reported in the newspaper that multifamily residences saw an elevated vacancy level rising at 21.4%. That's incorrect. The press release by Mr. Church's office was 21.4% in office vacancy. I looked, the multifamily vacancy in Q1 of 2025 is 5.4%. In the first quarter of 2024, a year earlier, it was 5.5%. So the multifamily vacancy is right around 5.4, 5.5%. So just wanted to bring that to your attention because I kind of looked at 21.4% for multifamily and kind of freaked out. I'm like, oh my God, that is high. So anyway, so just good information for the community. And then continuing with the calendar, July 11th, which is this Friday, and second Fridays of every month, we have Movie in the Park. Outdoor movies start at sundown. So this Friday night is featuring Finding Nemo, which is a classic and a good one for summer. Then August 8th, which is, again, the second Friday in August, we have Kung Fu Panda 4, and that will be outdoors at the park. And then starting August 21st, which is the third Thursday of every month, we will return our downtown concert series known as Beats, Brews, and Vines at the corner of Hillcrest and Broadway. So August 21st, that starts at 6 p.m. We have a great band called Pride and Joy. They played with us before, a very popular band. And then lastly, and I think Councilmember Rinaldi may refer to this, we have our CERT basic training sessions from September 30th through October 25th. There's a handout here. It's also, we'll post it online. Anybody in the audience would like it, it's up here on the counter, but also available online. So it starts September 30th and goes through October 25th. That's our CERT basic training program. So Mayor, that concludes a brief update of what's happening around the city of Millbrae.
Thank you so much for the update, and it's exciting to see. I also saw the paper and the press release from the assessor's office. The 7.19% is dynamite for City of Millbrae. It's important for our tax base and our economic development agenda and seeing the fruition. So thank you very much for a job well done, all of us. All right, so on item number 3, we don't have any approval of minutes tonight. We don't have any oral report from city committees and commission chair either. And so that takes us to public communication. This is the portion of the agenda reserved for those who wish to comment on any item not appearing on tonight's agenda. However, a speaker must address subject matter within the jurisdictions of the city council, and every speaker will have 3 minutes. The speaker is to address directly to the entire council and not individual council member nor the public. I don't have any speaker slip on my desk. City clerk? Oh, all right, there you go. Any last minute or is just one? Okay. Sophia Valera, please take the podium.
Hello. I'll be reading from my notes, okay? My name's Sophia. Good evening, Mayor Fung and council members. I am a new small business owner here in Millbrae. I am opening a fitness and wellness studio just down the street on Broadway in just a few weeks. And we're incredibly excited to join this community, serve our neighbors, and contribute something positive to the area. It's called West Core Studio on 439 Broadway. That said, I'm here tonight just to share a concern that could possibly impact our ability to open our doors and I believe affects the broader well-being of the neighborhood. So when you walk outside to the doors, there's a very, very intense smell of raw sewage mixed with bathroom waste is what it smells like. While we've been renovating and working on the area, we started to ask around our neighbors to see if it was persistent and ongoing, and it has been for a long time apparently. So next door to us at 447 Broadway, the restaurant Laka appears to be, upon confirmation, connected to the city's gutter drain. So every day oil leaks from that lane and flows directly into the sidewalk in front of our space. And so we reported the issue to the city on June 12th, spoke to the sewer department. David Bocelli came out to inspect the very next day, confirmed the issue was already known prior and has been an issue in the past. He recommended I follow up with court enforcement, which I did. And they confirmed that they actually thought the issue had been resolved already, but after a conversation, they said they would look into it further. And as of yesterday, they said that they reached out to their colleagues, they would do an inspection. We even went into the restaurant manager next door, and they said there's nothing they could do just to come and reach out to the city. So my goal just of being here today is to present the challenge to the council so that it's made aware and to receive support, to hopefully receive a solution here before we open our doors in the next few weeks. We want to be good neighbors and are here to uplift the community, but we definitely want your help. That's it. Thank you for your time and for your support.
Thank you very much for your comment. This is a public comment, so we're not going to go back and forth on it, but I'm under the assumption that our director and the public work is already aware of the issue, and I'm sure they will take care of it, within the protocol, time frame and all of that. So, and just wanted to say that, our economic development is the forefront of our agenda. We want every business to have a pathway to success here in Millbrae. So rest assured that this will get resolved in due time. Thank you so much for your comment. All right, any other public comment? I don't have any hand raised online.
No hands raised or public comment.
Thank you very much. And that brings an end to the public communication this evening. Moving on to consent calendar, we have item number 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Number 5, approved by motion the quarterly investment schedule for the third quarter fiscal year 2024 to 25. Item 6, adoption of a resolution authorizing the city manager or designee to execute an amendment to the contract with Stepford, Inc. to add 2 one-year options and exercise each option for information technology support and related services in an amount not to exceed $170,000 per year for the base services and an amount not to exceed $50,000 per year for additional services over 2 option periods for the period of July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2027. And also authorized purchases of software, hardware, and related technology items from Stepford, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $150,000 per contract year and execute necessary agreements and addenda. Item 7, adoption of a resolution awarding a construction contract to JMB Construction for the Hacienda Lift Station Replacement Project in the amount of $3,034,080, establishing a project contingency of $456,000 for a total project budget not to exceed $3.5 million, and authorizing the city manager or designee to execute all contract documents up to the project budget and finding that the project is exempt from California Environmental Quality Act. Approved by motion, a request from the Millbrae Cultural Committee for parking lot and street closure and fee waiver for the Lunar New Year Festival on February 14 and 15 in 2026. And also approved by motion the field use at Central Park and fee waivers for the Spring Festival on April 4th, 2024. And I believe that's also from the Rotary Club, correct, Mr. City Manager?
That is correct, Mayor.
Thank you very much. So that is item between 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Does anyone wants to have any item pulled from the consent calendar? Seeing none, any public comment on item 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9? Seeing none, I'd love to entertain a motion to move this forward. Okay. We got a motion from Councilmember Rinaldi and a second from Councilmember Nguyen. Final comments? Your votes, please.
Items number 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 passed by the vote of 5-0.
Thank you, City Clerk. And opening up the public hearing, I believe that we have a public hearing item tonight, do we not?
Ms. Mayor, yeah, but that will be item number 12. The agenda will remain the same.
Okay, so we'll just wait till item 12 to open the public comment?
That's
Okay.
correct.
So being that the case, we're moving on to new business. Item number 10, receive update on the status of a community development project throughout the city and informational item. Director Andy Wilkinson.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the council. So we're going to give an update on the status of our major entitled community development projects tonight. The map in front of you shows you where these projects are located in town. Most of them are clustered around Millbrae Station, and there are a few on the northern portion of our downtown area. So just to give you a perspective of where things are at. Next slide, please. So the first project we're going to talk about tonight is One Meadow Glen. This is a project that I think you're all familiar with. This is the 1.8-acre former Office Depot site downtown, bordered by Broadway, El Camino Real, and Meadow Glen. It will be ultimately a 6-story mixed-use building. This was an SB 330 project that was entitled back in July 2022. It consists of 278 residential units. 26 of those are affordable, and it will have a little over 17,000 square feet of retail space at the ground level with 2 levels of interior parking. So you've probably saw a lot of activity on the site. It was a big hole for a while, and back in June, they had a major pour, and you can see the basement level perimeter walls, the columns, and the shear walls were recently poured. These are some photos taken last week. Next slide. You can see some pictures of the project renderings from the entitlement, including the public plaza in the upper right corner. I know we've shared these with council before. For those who are watching, just to give you an idea what the project will look like upon completion and where it's located. Next slide. I want to point out the site, I mentioned it is bordered by El Camino Real, Meadow Glen, and Broadway. It's bounded on 3 sides. There is an overhead utility line from PG&E along the Millbrae Square parking lot. And so they do have some constraints. So to accommodate the construction of the site, which is going to continue through spring 2027, we will have some occasional road and lane closures adjacent to the site, particularly along Broadway, in order to accommodate the construction vehicles. We'll be keeping the residents and businesses appraised of when those closures happen. We'll be trying to make sure that they happen in the evening hours. And we'll continue to manage those closures and details. The contractor will be notifying the adjacent businesses and residents in advance. And we'll be providing periodic updates on the city website as well when those happen. So we'll keep you posted. But again, the construction is expected to continue through spring 2027. We appreciate everyone's patience downtown as it continues. Next slide. Another major project that's going to be underway is 1301 Broadway. The former dentist's office was recently demolished. Grading has begun, the permits are completed, and we expect construction to commence as early as this week or next week. They're now ready to move forward. So we will see activity there in the coming days. The other good news that about the project, we recently received $21,300 from the California Municipal Finance Authority from the issuance of the TEFR bonds that were issued earlier this year. You remember we had the TEFR hearings back in February and March. Next slide. The project at 1301, it's a 97-unit fully affordable housing development. It was entitled under SB 330 in August 2024. It has 2 levels of parking with 63 spaces. It has an interior courtyard, a number of units with a wide variety of bedroom sizes, and it will have a permanent on-site, 2 permanent on-site managers and an office on-site 24 hours. So, next slide, please. Another project that we don't really have any updates on that's been going on for some time is 1100 El Camino Real. This is the El Rancho Inn site. That was a 5-story, 384-unit apartment complex that was entitled under SB 330 back in March 2022. The state of California passed a law recently, AB 2729, that grants an extension of certain project entitlements and building permit applications. Under state law, those are extended to December 16th, 2026. We do not have any information regarding a time frame for this project's development. We haven't heard anything new. Next slide. And to get into detail about all the different projects that are going on in and around Millbrae Station, this is where a lot of activity has been happening. You can see this map where the different projects are located. Sarah Station, Station 16 Apartments, the location of the Samtrans office. There in yellow, that's the office building. We refer to it as Building 3 sometimes. And that was purchased recently by Swift Real Estate Partners. You can see across the street, Residence Inn and the Rollins, which are completed. Residence Inn, of course, has tenant improvements on the ground floor, as does the Samtrans and Station 16 apartment site. And then across the street, we have ACLS in Longfellow. ACLS is where Icon Therapeutics is, and Longfellow is Avia Labs on the south side of Millbrae Avenue. I'll go into detail on each of these in the next few slides. Next slide, please. So ACLS is now open and operational. Icon Therapeutics moved in April, and they're now moved in. Next slide. You can see the interior, some of the common areas at the ACLS project and the amenities building. They're wrapping up the final touches on the building right now. They're putting in the solar panels on the roof. You can see an image up there in the right with the scaffolding for the solar panels on the roof of the ACLS building. But once those solar panels are installed and a few minor details are addressed, then it'll have a final certificate of occupancy. It has a temporary right now. Next slide. And then next door is the Longfellow project, Avia Labs. That project is a 315,000 square foot laboratory and office building at 210 Harriet Tubman. They're just finishing up, I believe, the mural on the side. You can see in the picture in front of you, about halfway done in that image. You can see the lobby is completed and open. Next slide. The building, the core and shell of the building received their final certificate of occupancy back in early June. And there's some move-in ready laboratory space for future tenants that's currently under construction on the 3rd floor. Aside from the common areas and the amenity space, the rest of the building is vacant for future tenant improvements. So once they have a tenant for the building, they'll be able to come in and they'll do building improvements on that tenant space. The move-in office lab space is for a potential tenant that may want a quick move in and doesn't want to do the construction work themselves. They want to have like a ready-to-go space. And that's the activity going on at Avia Labs right now. Next slide. Gateway at Millbrae Station has a lot of activity. We have a number of new businesses that are now open, including Panda Express, Liberty Bank, Chick-fil-A, and Base Camp Fitness. Those businesses are now up and running. They'll be soon followed by Crumble Cookie, Sourdough and Company, and Starbucks, which are currently under construction, and we expect those to be completed later this summer. They'll be followed by a Zero And, which is a tea shop, iCode, which is a learning academy, and Tandoori Pizza. Those are either in plan check or waiting to pull permits. The most significant new tenant currently under construction in the center office building I mentioned earlier at 166 Rollins Road is Samtrans. They're occupying 150,000 square feet of tenant improvement space that's currently under construction. All levels of that building at 166 Rollins are currently under construction. I'll show you some photos in the next slide, please. You can see here construction. These are photos of the interior work that is currently going on in Samtrans offices. They expect to have those completed by January 2026. They're hoping to move in next year, early next year. Next slide. So a lot of activity has been going on. You can see some of the businesses. Some of these projects are farther along. They're just putting on the final touches. Some of them have put some of them are open for business, like Chick-fil-A and Base Camp Fitness. Others are under construction, like Sourdough and Company and iCode, which are working on their tenant improvements right now. And of course, we've had a number of grand openings lately. Liberty Bank had theirs not too long ago. Next slide. And also Chick-fil-A had their grand opening just a couple of weeks ago with a lot of folks in attendance there. We got some pictures here of the Chick-fil-A grand opening. They have the company has some traditions, including, I believe it's called the First Bite. There's a photo of the First Bite there in the upper left corner. Next slide. Another exciting addition to the Millbrae Station area, the Millbrae Station BART fare gates are now installed. And that's as a result of 100% grant funding from the San Mateo County Transportation Authority. The new fare gates are now installed, and there's a picture of them there in the photo. And you can see the construction and the before and after. So we're very happy to see that being completed. Next slide, please. And then the last project at Millbrae Station is Sarah Station at 150 Sarah Avenue. That approved project consists of 3 buildings with 290,000 square feet of office, a little over 30,000 square feet of retail, 5,000 square foot galleria, and up to 488 housing units. Now, late last year, the former Millbrae Sarah Convalescent Hospital was demolished. The property was cleared. You probably noticed that if you've been out at the station in the last few months. And we also extended the project's development agreement through November 16th, 2033. So they have a bit more time, their time frame. We do not have a specific time frame for when they plan to begin construction. Next slide. Here's a picture of the rendering from the entitlement of Sarah Station and where it's at in relation to Millbrae Station. Next slide. And so with that, that concludes my presentation tonight. There's no action needed. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Director. City Manager, you have anything?
Mayor, I was just going to provide a little bit more context here. A couple of years ago, City Council asked for an annual update and report just as an information item. So that's what we're doing this evening. And as Mr. Mogan said, this is just an information item. No action is required by the City Council, but we're happy to answer any questions that you have.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Anyone on the council? Questions for our directors and our city manager? If nobody, Vice Mayor?
Sure, thank you. That was a great presentation. Question about the Alexandria Life Sciences campus. Do you know if there's any grand opening or anything like that planned or scheduled? Just kind of all of a sudden, well, they're there one day, and it'd be nice to celebrate a new campus coming in.
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor. So we have reached out to the ICON team, and we will be scheduling something, a ribbon cutting and grand opening when they're ready. They've had a pretty significant move in, and their goal is to kind of not skip a beat with all of the tests and things that they're running within the company and transitioning. So when they're ready, we will definitely have a ribbon cutting. I'm anticipating probably early fall.
Okay. And there was some discussion, several years ago when these projects were approved, I think both for Alexandria as well as the Longfellow development, that there were some, conference rooms and meeting spaces that potentially could be made available for public use. So I'm wondering if there's been any follow-up on that, and what the, process protocol is for being able to book that space if it's available.
Go back.
There you are.
Here goes. So it's hard to see, but on the bottom right, just to the right of the palm trees, there's a lower building there with the vertical windows. That's the amenity building. And there's a 120 seat, I believe it's 120 seat, theater for conferences. And that is the shared facility that is available to the community and the city as long as ICON, the primary tenant, is not using it. So that's built, and
yeah, there's a photo of it there in the center, upper center.
Upper center, okay. Okay, so I guess we would just reach out to them if we have any requests to use it?
yeah, correct. Not to take the thunder from Mayor Fung, but we are talking about the state of the city and possibly having the state of the city in that in the theater there.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, it's just, thank you. Thank you for breaking that away. It's just, we've seen opening of new businesses. I mean, as we just see this informational presentation from Director Mogensen, these are some of the most exciting news that, this council is focusing on, and we're now seeing the fruition of our prioritizing economic development at the forefront of our agenda for the last year. We've seen opening of new businesses. The Bank of the Orient came in. Their headquarters are moving here to El Camino Real. New branches are opening up. Chick-fil-A came in with 90 new job opportunities, and then they're going to hire local, as I was speaking to the business owner. Liberty Bank came in. Pender Express, again, more employment opportunities, Modern Eat, among many others, who are now investing in Millbrae. Icon Therapeutic moved in with hundreds of new high-quality employment opportunities. They're all going to become our new daytime population and contribute to our local economy. And, in terms of the future, you just said it, Crumble Cookies, Starbucks, more fitness at the Station 16 location, which is heard from the public, another fitness studio opening up on Broadway, and continue investing in our city. I know for a fact that more restaurants are coming in and opening up on Broadway. I've been seeing some social media. Sam Tran is slated to come in, where is it, a Q1, Q2 next year, Director?
Beginning of next year, yes.
Okay, so let's call it Q2.
Q2.
Yeah, call it Q2
Okay.
2026 with, more hundreds of new daytime population with employment opportunity coming in the city of Millbrae. It's just the fruition of this priority and 7.2% growth in terms of property assessment value. I don't want to put our finance director on the spot here, but what is our total property tax we pull in every year, excluding VLF, just on real estate property tax? Just guesstimate. Sorry to put you on the spot here, Mike.
I mean, if we're looking at the ad valorem piece in itself, it's probably pretty close to about 8 million itself, but there's different other pieces combined on there. The VLF itself is a little bit less than 4 million. That's the whole VLF portion. But the ad valorem, or the 1%, it's approximately.
So we're talking about a nearly 7.2% growth in terms of those property tax valuation, which means 7.2% growth in terms of the coffer.
For the ad valorem piece, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the result of this priority of focusing on economic development. I just want the public to be completely aware of it, including those who are online and be able to see this. This is important for us. And also continue keeping La Quinta operating as a hotel as well. So we'll continue to pull in the TOT every year. So thank you so much for the entire team who continue to focus on the priorities that are important to Millbrae. Anyone else on this council? Is it a motion? Oh, actually, it's informational. Don't require a motion.
No required motion, Mr. Mayor, just informational.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Director. Item 11, introduce and waive the first reading of an ordinance amending section 105.020 of the Millbrae Municipal Code regarding enforcement and citation authority. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to introduce Community Development Director, Mr. Andy Mogensen, to present this item.
Thank you. So this is an ordinance, it's a housekeeping item amending section 1.05020 of the municipal code. It regards enforcement citation authority. Next slide. Just some background about this. This particular section of the municipal code identifies a list of employee positions and what code sections that those positions have the authority to enforce. The code section is updated periodically. Whenever we have a new ordinance that needs enforcement or we have a new position that's created, we would also amend the section to align it with those changes. The last time we visited this was back on September 28th, 2021 under Ordinance 788. So we visit this regularly. It's been about 5 years since we previously updated it. This particular update accommodates the new Park Service Assistant position that was recently approved, and 4 positions that are not previously identified. Most of those positions are in fact outside of the city, like the Chief of Police, the deputies. One that is internal, our city engineer, is now included in this update, and the Deputy Fire Marshal was not included. That is now. We also have a Fire Marshal that's also included in here. And the update also identifies the new encampment ordinance that the council recently adopted. So because that ordinance has certain people at City Hall who are authorized to enforce it, we're identifying it in this code. Next slide. So as I said, it's a very simple change. Whenever we have these new ordinances that are approved or employment positions are created, we also update the section as well. These proposed updates to the section reflect prior approvals. They do not amend any existing regulations, so it's just reflecting what's already been done. It's completely a housekeeping update. And so with that, next slide. Slide please. We recommend that the City Council introduce an ordinance amending this section and waive the first reading. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Excellent. Thank you, Director. Anyone else on this? Anyone on this council have any questions for this ordinance? Any public comment?
No public comment or hands raised.
Very well. Bring it back to the council. I'll entertain a motion if nobody has any comments on it. Okay, we have a motion from Councilman Rinaldi and a second from the Vice Mayor. Final comment, final questions? Your votes, please.
Item number 11 passes by the vote of 5-0.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, item number 12, adopt a resolution adopting the fiscal year 2025 to 26 sewer surface charge report and authorizing the collection of fiscal year 25-26 sewage service charges on the county tax roll for residential and commercial customers, adopting a resolution authorizing the collection of a fiscal year 25 to 26 fire assessment on the county tax roll, adopt a resolution authorizing collection of fiscal year 25-26 stormwater fee, also on the county tax roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before I introduce Mr. Mike Sung, our Finance Director, just a little housekeeping. There are 3 resolutions for adoption. The sewer service charge report, that resolution is a public hearing item. And so, Mayor, you'll open the public hearing, take public comment, testimony, close the public hearing, and take action on that. So that is a public hearing item. In the staff report on the first page, it was checked as new business and not public hearing, so a little bit of a typo and technicality here. We did fix it, we republished it today, and so just to notify you, and it's in your purple folder, that is a public hearing.
So we'll open a public hearing after the presentation is completed.
That is correct.
Thank you. Director Sung.
All right. Thank you, City Manager Williams, and good evening, Honorable Mayor, Honorable Vice Mayor, and Honorable City Council members. Today we're going to talk about the sewer service charge, fire assessment, and storm fee for fiscal year 25-26. Next slide, please.
So, sorry, Mike. One other thing that I failed to mention is that it was properly noticed for a public hearing this evening, so I forgot to mention that. So all the noticing, everything was proper, just this little typo on the box. So sorry, Mike.
Excellent.
Oh, thank you. So the background on this is, so the city's been pretty efficient with how we actually place things and collect our revenue. One of the greater efficiencies that we've actually had is to put a bunch of things onto the county property tax roll. This includes our sewer charges, which we started doing in fiscal year 23-24, as well as fire assessment, which has been done since 2004 and 2005, and our storm fees, which has actually been on there since fiscal year 94 and 95. Next slide, please. Just some updates on the collection status. So for our sewer charges, the fixed and variable costs are actually going to go up by about 6%, and this is actually per the sewer rate study back in 2022. Our clean bay charge remains unchanged, and that's going to remain unchanged through this 5-year duration. For the fire assessment, this is a little bit new. When the fire assessment was reauthorized, we wanted to make sure that we kept up with the times, so we had a CPI adjustment not to exceed 3%. And the CPI from February to February is 2.689%. You might be asking why February through February, because usually we don't get that information until about the end of March. If it was done any later than that, it would be, for example, if it was April to April, we wouldn't get the information until around the end of May. Usually most budgets are actually done by then. So that's why most cities actually use February to February for the CPIU here. What this means is single-family residential homes, the fire assessment will be about $204. Right now it's $199. It's a $5 increase, basically. Same with multifamily residential. It goes up by 2.689% instead of 142. It's 146 now. And then for commercial and industrial, it's dependent on the square footage, room, number of beds, parcel, but it's also going up by 2.689%. For the storm fees, they remain unchanged, and the fees are kind of listed there. Next slide, please. So the key tasks that we're looking at this council meeting is the adoption of these three resolutions, approving the sewer service charge report, the fire assessment report, and the storm fees. If these resolutions are approved, then these charges, assessments, and fees would be submitted to the county by July 31st. We'd need to get that into the county. They actually need the resolutions. All of this gets programmed in by the county in the very beginning of August for the fiscal year 25-26 property tax roll. Next slide, please. So for just a little additional information, the sewer charge, fire assessment, and storm fee, they, if they're on the county property tax roll, they coincide with the tax roll schedule. So people are pretty used to December 10th and April 10th, respectively. Those are the actual due dates. So it's really just 2 payments. And for our sewer service charge for fiscal year 25-26, it's actually available on the city website already. You can actually navigate on there and look for the sewer service charge report. And then just a little aside, for the cities in San Mateo County, most of them are actually on the county billing schedule. There's a couple of exceptions like Burlingame and Brisbane, but most of the cities are all on the county property tax roll for the sewer charge. And we are one of the more recent, I guess, cities that joined back in 23-24. I think a couple of the other cities are also looking at that too, but the overwhelming majority are already on there. Next slide. So with that, we're asking to adopt the resolutions authorizing the collection of fiscal year 25-26 sewer charges, fire assessment, and stormwater fees on the San Mateo County tax roll. And I'm open for any questions.
Thank you, Director Sung. You have anything, City Manager, before we proceed?
No, Mr. Mayor, any questions staff we're happy to answer before the opening of the public hearing?
Okay, yeah, so we need to open a public hearing at this time on item number 12. And Councilmember, Dwayne, you have any?
I just want to understand, like, what's the advantage of putting it on the county tax roll versus how we're doing it right now?
So it's for greater efficiency in how things actually get collected. With the tax roll, we're on a teeter plan. What that means is the county collects everything and they front us the entire amount. So if you go through another source, sometimes people don't pay the full amount. You have to go through collections. It's inefficient compared to how the county actually handles this.
I see. Thanks.
Councilmember Rinaldi?
Can you explain how that helps with the credit rating for the city?
Yes. So if you have a sure way of collecting, that's actually looked upon favorably by the credit rating agencies. And any credit rating helps with borrowing costs. An example is 4 years ago when we refunded our 2009 certificates of participation, the credit rating agency took a look at our financials. They liked what they saw, and then they upgraded us from AA- to AA. Might not seem like much, but a few basis points over a very large amount of money saves a few $100,000. So it's definitely worthwhile to have very stable revenues and to have things that are relatively certain. So that's why it's good to have a good credit rating.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Councilmember Riley.
Hi, I understand for the collection from the county, it's good for our city because we save labor. How about the property owner? Is they pay same amount or they have to pay higher or lower?
They pay the exact same amount. It's just collected a different way. In fact, usually what ends up happening is they don't actually make the first payment for a lot of things until December 10th. So some of the property owners, they'll actually make a little bit of interest if they do this correctly. Yes.
Oh, okay, good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I had a question about the storm water fees, and, I noticed, I recalled this in the past, that they had not been changed since, I believe it was 1994, 31 years ago. And as a result, the general fund has to largely subsidize the storm fund. I remember several years ago, there was some discussion about possible changes to state law that would allow a Proposition 218 notice to raise stormwater rates. At that time, I think basically every city was sort of playing chicken and wanted somebody else to do it first, thinking that they would get sued. I'm wondering if there's been any update to that over the last 5 years or so, if other cities are doing that through a Prop 218 notice.
So you're absolutely correct. The general fund is subsidizing the storm fund, and we do not receive enough in storm fees to actually pay for the storm costs. There has been a lot of talk about the Prop 218 funding. Trying to remember what city it was, but somebody did kind of take a shot at this. I don't think they succeeded in that. Perhaps our city attorney might have a little bit more information on that. But when I went to the last CSMFO conference, we were all talking about that, all of the finance directors, looking to see if there was a viable way to actually do that. And it didn't look very favorable at the time when we were discussing this. So if something does come up, we'll definitely let the council know.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to keep an eye on. I mean, it's a pretty modest amount now, $25 per year. I think even if you double that, that would be still a fairly low amount to be charging residents and property owners here, and would help to ease some of the burden on the general fund, which could help with other services that are underfunded. So I think definitely something to look into. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Anyone else? Councilmember Nguyen.
I forgot to ask, we talked about advantages, right, efficiency for putting on the county tax roll, but are there drawbacks to doing that? And can you tell me what they would look like if there are any?
I don't think there's any real drawbacks to it. Most of it is just getting everything on and collected on a schedule, in that you do have to have some coordination. There's a little bit of growing pains in the beginning because people aren't used to it, but we work with the county. We've had a consultant help us to reach out to the HOAs and to some of the homeowners so they're aware of the new process and how that works. But otherwise, you're getting billed the same amount of money.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. If no further question here, I'd like to make sure the public has a chance to ask questions and public comment. This is a public hearing. I don't have any speakers' lips, however.
There's also no hands raised.
No hand raised online, so I'd like to take a motion to close the public hearing. Okay, motion to close from Councilmember Nguyen, and also a second from Councilmember Rinaldi. Your votes to close public hearing.
Motion to close public hearing passes with a vote of 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Public hearing closed. Council, any other final comment, questions? Otherwise, I can entertain a motion for the 3 resolution. Can we clear the board, City Clerk? Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. Okay, let's clear the board and try again. All right. Okay, very well. Your votes, please.
Item number 12 for all three resolutions passed with a vote of 5-0.
Okay, and that takes it to the end of this meeting this evening at 7:51 PM. We got 9 minutes, 8.5 for council comments. Who wants to go first? All right, Councilmember Rinaldi.
Thanks, Mayor Fung. Talk about efficiency. So record time here for this council. Just want to first start by thanking the general public, our city staff, as well as our neighbors from the north, council from San Bruno, Mayor Rico Medina, and Vice Mayor Marty Medina for joining us on the 4th of July festivities. Also, I'd like to thank council for showing up, my fellow colleagues here, and especially thank Councilmember Sissy Riley for kicking off the festivities the right way. All in all, it was a great day and a great event. Also, want to just make a couple quick announcements regarding CERT and CCFD. Just last week, we had the grand opening of Station 36 over on Rollins. Another station to provide services, also closer to BART, so it should help with calls from there. And also, we have our slide that's up right now, which is for the registration for the CERT program come September, October. So all are welcome to join. Registration fills up quick. I'd highly recommend it. It's free of charge, and be more prepared to help yourself, your neighbors, your family, your loved ones. So highly recommend that. And last but not least, we'll be having a CERT boot camp. July 17th, I believe, is the date for the Millbrae Leos. So this is a first, getting the youth involved too. So that's it from my side. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember. Who wants to do next? Councilmember Nguyen.
I had a chance to, I'm not part of the Chamber of Commerce, but I had a chance to talk to some of its members, and we did a quick walk through Broadway, and there were some interesting comments just talking to them in the business as we were going through it. And one was the code enforcement. I know that there were some code enforcement violations, but I think within the last couple of months, they did see an uptick in enforcement, and I think it might be a great, I understand that there are code violations, but it may be good for transparency and optics for the business to give them a heads up before citing things that they did violate. Just something I did notice across a couple of businesses, especially closer towards Murchison, closer towards the other, that side of the Broadway. So that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. So on June 26th, I hosted the annual Commission and Committee Service Award luncheon that was held at the Rec Center, and we honored members of city committees and commissions for their years of service over the years. And I just wanted to recognize those who were honored that night with 5-year service pins. With 5-year service pins were Kathleen Guerin, Karen Chin, and John Muniz. With a 10-year service pin was Mimi Lee. With a 15-year service pin was Mary Ellen Pellegrini. And taking the cake with a 25-year service pin was Vernon Bruce. So thank you. Congratulations to all of those who earned their service pins, and thanks to everyone else who has served their time on city committees and commissions. Thank you.
Very well. All right. Anyone else? Okay. Perfect. My comment, I got 4 minutes. The Transportation Authority authorized $10.3 million funding, and they are working for you right now. The fare gates are being installed here at the City of Millbrae BART Station. I think we've shown some of the photos at the earlier when Director Mogensen was doing a presentation. And all 5 stations within San Mateo counties will be done in the next, but before the end of the year, but most likely within the next few weeks. And these new fare gates are being paid for by the Transportation Authority and not at the city level. So the city's tax general fund are not being affected by it, because in fact, this is a regional transportation asset. So TA has agreed to fund these fare gate installation, and it will forever improve the public safety around all the stations, and ensuring that no more fare gate jumping and protecting the integrity of our regional transit system, and that's very important. And then at the same time, some of the Millbrae station signs are being refreshed. The stations are being cleaned up, and more attentions regarding ensuring cleanliness and, most importantly, public safety around our stations. And that's also part of some of the newer implementation as well. So we're very excited about that. And a moment ago, as far as code enforcement is concerned, I also heard some from the community members. What I will say is that, it is best that we take every opportunity possible to educate our business owners and the property owners. I do believe that, our business community members are committed to the well-being of our city. And so I think, education will go a long way to help ensuring that all the codes are being followed and continue to keep the city strong and keep the business community thriving. We've already seen that. The investment in our downtown and throughout the city is strong, and there's plenty of interest to continue to invest in Millbrae. And these are the fruition of our educational initiative and also committing to the success of our business owners. I'm planning to host a coffee with the mayor at 10 a.m. July 19, 2025, at the Starbucks on Broadway. And this is a chance for the public to ask questions, anything you want to ask, and also keeping the public informed on some of the latest updates from the city. Oftentimes, at meetings such as this, you don't get to ask too many questions from the public. And, this is an opportunity to inform the public what's going on and anything on their mind. We'll have city manager, I imagine you're going to be ready. And we'll probably have some of the department head invited to join us for coffee on a Saturday morning as well. It'll be 10 a.m. On July 19th at the Starbucks at the corner of Broadway. And, we'd like to see, members of our community joining us. And hopefully we can do more of this as we continue to engage the public. So be there as it may at 7:58 p.m. If no further comment, I will adjourn the meeting tonight before 8. I think this is something that some of my predecessor hasn't done for a long time. So I'm pretty proud to end this meeting at 7:59 p.m. That's all. Thank you all.